America. Ding dong, the Twinkie is not dead. Hostess brand has agreed to sell the Twinkie and Ding Dong along with Ho-Ho, Snowballs, Dolly Madison Zingers to two investment firms. The deal's reportedly worth more than $410 million. All of those brands will probably make a comeback by this summer. Paul Ryan released his budget earlier this week. The Democrats followed yesterday with their own version. But what about President Obama? We've seen no budget from the White House despite a legal requirement that the budget be submitted to Congress by the first Monday in February. All rise. He's here, the judge, Andrew Napolitano. Is that a law?
Yes, it's a federal statute that Congress imposed upon itself and the president. It doesn't have to generate with the president. It could generate with someone in the House. It could generate with someone in the Senate. But it's a statute that must be enacted. The budget is a statute that Congress enacts and the president signs into law. And Congress has imposed upon itself the obligation to do it by the first Monday in February.
It's 4 years. We haven't had one.
Correct.
That's flat out breaking the law, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So what's the penalty?
Nothing. When you or I or Emac or Charles or anybody watching us now breaks a law that Congress imposes upon us, there is a consequence. When Congress breaks its own laws that it imposes upon itself, there is no consequence. There's no consequence to the members of Congress. There's no consequence to the government. The government's not going to fine itself. So obviously they can't make it by the first Monday in February because that's passed. This is the first Monday in February preceding the fiscal year, which starts on October 1st. So they can't make it for this year. They haven't made it for the past 4 years. The only sanction is political. Congress is breaking the laws. It's written. We'll vote them out of office. That's the theoretical consequence.
But if nobody cares, there is no penalty.
Correct.
If the penalty is political, people vote against the president and his party, then there is no penalty because it's not seeped through that this is an important thing.
Right. Now,
here, if the media essentially protects the president and the Democrats in Congress, then it's not going to seep through to the public and there will be no political
that's where I think it's a good, if you don't mind me saying so, that we're having this conversation. I don't think this keeps people awake at night, but they ought to know that the Congress does not follow its own laws and that there are real consequences to this. I'll give you an example of a real consequence. Because there is no budget, the president is free to move cash within a department. So if the Defense Department gets, I'll just throw a number out, $100 billion, they get a lot more. The president is free to send all of that to the Army, or all of that to the Navy, or all of it to West Point, because there are no budget items that force him to spend in accordance with Congress's will. So that's an advantage, president.
Yes, but wait a second. This sequester cuts 2.whatever%.
Yes.
The president said, we've got to cut vaccinations for children in Georgia. We've got to cut White House tours.
Do you think
You're
the
telling me
president was
that's
being
not
candid?
Is that not accurate?
Do you think the president was being knowledgeable?
So, wait a second. Because of the absence of a budget,
the president is free to cut what he wishes.
And he can put the money wherever he likes.
Absolutely. If he wants to hire 100 soldiers,
why isn't
he
this
only
known?
has to hire 98, he can hire the 100 and not hire somewhere else or not spend somewhere else. There is no legal mechanism to prevent him from switching funds from A to B so long as the total in each department raises 98% instead of 100%.
We are 2 weeks into these sequester
You and
cuts.
I have discussed this.
I've not heard this. I did not know that in the absence of a budget, the president is free to direct money where he chooses. Didn't know that.
Absolutely he is. Remember, the sequester doesn't cut. It reduces the increase. Okay. So instead of going up 100 cents on the dollar, the proposed increase, it goes up 98 cents. What happens to that 2 cents? He can grab it from here and he can grab it from there.
And he has not done that.
He's not done it.
He said,
claims he
we're
can't
cutting
do it.
there and we're cutting there.
There's no mechanism to prevent him from doing it. With a budget, there would be a mechanism to prevent him from doing it. President Nixon attempted not to spend budgetary items that Congress had authorized.
Well, we've got
the Supreme Court said you have to spend it because it's in the budget.
Continuing resolutions under which we allocate money, that does not constitute a budget.
Correct.
Okay. No.
Correct.
They're out of time.
And they all know that. Congressman Ryan, whatever you think of the numbers, has at least tried to comply with the law.
Where have you been hiding this
Although he's a
information?
little late.
You're on the show every single day, and I didn't know that.
I only talk about the subjects that you and the Queen request.
That was good. That was good.
He's right, Philip!
Oh, here we go. Judge, thank you very much indeed. That was good.